Hi, I'm Anita. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on a ring. I haven't done one of those in a while, so I thought I'd do today's tutorial showing you how to make the Crystal Visions ring band. This is a pattern out of a book that I have called Beadwork Creates Beaded Things, and it's edited by a lady named Campbell. And the original designer of this ring is Susan J. Manchester. So I will have links in the description box to where you can find this book if you're interested. It's got some really cool ring designs of several types that you might like. I'll also have links available for all the products used today, and you don't need very much. So if you click more below this video, you'll get all the details, including a link to my website. Alright, so let's get started and we'll go over the materials next. So for beads, you're only going to need, I'm using galvanized gold in the 11-0 Miyuki seed beads. You're going to need about 1 gram of those. And I've also got 4mm Bicone crystals and 3mm Bicone crystals. You're going to need a total of 12 bicones, and what I did is I'm mixing it up. I'm going to have 8 of the 3mm and 4 of the 4mm Bicone crystals in today's design. I also need a pair of scissors, flat nose pliers. I'm using a size 10 beading needle and a ring mandrel so you can check the size of your ring. We're going to be making a size 5 today. And then I'm using 4-pound fire line in the crystal. And so let me clear my area and we'll get started. Alright, to start this project, you're going to start with about 1 yard of your 4-pound fire line. Put that on your beading needle, and you're going to start by picking up 5 of your 11-0 Miyuki seed beads. Then you're going to put on a 3mm, and then you're going to put on 11-0, 3mm, another 11-0, a 4mm, another 11-0, a 4mm, 11-0, 3mm, 11-0, and 3mm. So you're going to have 2 of your 3mm on the outer edge and 2 4mm in the center, separated by a seed bead. And you're going to bring that down on your needle. Bring that up close so you can see. That's what you should have. So we're going to pull that down, and I'm not going to use a stop bead because we're going to be doing a square knot here once we get the rest of our beads on. And I'm going to leave about a 6-inch tail. So from here, I'm going to pick up 20 of my 11-0 Miyukis in gold. So here are the 20 11-0s in gold. These are all Miyuki seed beads. And you're going to bring that down to your work. Just make sure you leave a 6-inch tail. Alright, once you have your 20 Miyukis on, we're going to do a square knot. So you're going to bring your tail thread over, cross that through, bring that through the loop. You're going to pull that together like that. Now we're going to take the tail thread, go over the working thread again in the opposite direction. You're doing a square knot. Pull that through. And you're going to pull this all together like that. Close that nice and tight. You want to draw that together. So that's what you should have, like that. Now I'm going to do one more overhand knot. I'm going to do a surgeon's knot. So I'm going to bring my tail through the loop twice. Pull that together again just to give it an extra secure knot right on top of that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my tail thread on another needle, and then we'll weave that in. So we'll do that next. Go ahead and put your tail thread on another needle, and I'll show you how to weave that in. Alright, now that I have my tail thread on another needle, we're going to weave this, and we're just going to come back this direction away from the crystals. So just bring your needle through the 11-0s and we're going to go through the remainder of the band until we get back to the crystals. So continue passing your needle through all of these beads. And once we get to the end here, we're going to clip the tail thread off right here. So now we can continue with our working thread. So right now our working thread is coming out of this 11-0 here. We're going to go through the next 2 beads like that. So with our thread exiting, we're 3 beads away from the crystal. We're going to pick up 3 of our seed beads. Then we're picking up a 3mm bicone, like that. And we're going to go in through the seed bead after this first crystal, like that. You want to pull that snug, and that's going to seat the crystal next to the other one, like that. So from here we're going to pick up another crystal. We're picking up another 3mm. We're going to pick up a 11-0 seed bead, and we're going to pick up a 4mm crystal. So you should have a 3mm, 11-0, and a 4mm. So from here, we're skipping the crystal 11-0 and the 4mm, and we're going to go in through the next 11-0 after the 4mm crystal. Right there. Pull that through. And you want to pull that nice and tight. And you want those beads to sit right next to the existing crystals, like that. We're going to pull this gap up here because we're going to reinforce this later. So right now we're coming out of this 11-0 before the first 4mm crystal. We're going to pick up another 4mm crystal, an 11-0, and a 3mm bicone, like that. We're skipping the next 2 crystals and 11-0, and we're going to go through the 11-0 before the last 3mm bicone. Pull that together, and you want to try to pull this tight to get the thread slack from down here. So we'll squeeze that, pull that nice and tight. Try to get your bicones to bunch up next to each other like that. Now I'm going to pick up my last crystal, my last 3mm, and then I'm going to pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads, like that. So we're exiting this 11-0 here, we're skipping the bicone and the next 3 11-0s, so we're going to go into the 4th 11-0 after the crystal. Pull that nice and tight, try to get all the thread slack out of there. So that's what you should have so far. Your thread is exiting this 11-0 here. We're going to pick up 2 11-0s. We're exiting this 11-0 here. You're going to skip the next 2 11-0s and go into the following 11-0. Right there. Pull that together. And you want those two 11-0s to sit right next to the ones that were on the original row. So we're going to pick up 2 more 11-0s. You're exiting this 11-0 here. You're going to skip the next 2 and go through the third one after that, right there. Pull that tight. And you want to make sure these are landing on the right hand side because you want your band to stay straight and you don't want it to get twisted. So we're going to pick up 2 more. We're just repeating this. Coming out of this 11-0 here, you're going to skip the next 2 beads and go into the next 11-0. Pull that nice and tight. Make sure those are seated to the right. And you're going to continue that until we get to the end. So continue adding your 2 11-0s, skipping those 2 11-0s on your band and going into the next bead. And then I'll show you what the next step is. I'm coming near the end of the band here. I'm picking up my last 2 11-0s, exiting. Oops, dropped them. Pick those back up. All right, so we're coming out here, we're skipping the next 2, and we're coming in through the 11-0. That's just before the beads in 3. Pull that through and make sure those are sitting on the right hand side. So that's what you should have. So this will make a size 5 ring, and that was 20 beads that we started with to complete the band. So for every size that you want to go up, it goes from 5 to 7 to 10, I believe. You'll want to add 3 beads to the band if you need it bigger. So keep that in mind. If you need to make it larger than a size 5, if you want it a 7, you need to add 3 beads to the count. So for every size you're going to go up, you need to add 3 beads so that the pattern will work out. Otherwise, it's not going to match up with the second row that we're doing on the 2 beads. All right, so from here, we've added our last 2. We're going to go through and start reinforcing. So we're going to go through. I'm going to reinforce the right side first. So we're going to go all the way through the crystals and these 3 beads. So we're going through the 3 seed beads first here. And now it's just a matter of reinforcing this. So I'm going to go through the first reinforcement and then I'll send you on your way. So we're exiting this 11-0. We're going to go through the crystal and through the 11-0. And I'm going to stick to this right-hand side. So we're sharing that center bead for both sides. So you're going to bring that through. Now I'm going to go through the crystal on the right-hand side and the 11-0. I'm going to go through the crystal and the shared 11-0. And as you're doing this, you want to pull snug to draw those beads together. Now I'm going to go through the crystal and the 11-0 right there. And then I'll go through the crystal, the shared 11-0 right there. Pull that nice and tight. Now I'm going to go through this last crystal on the right. And I'm going to go through the band to reinforce. So I'm going through the 3 11-0s, through the shared 11-0 here in the middle. Pull that nice and tight. And as you do this, your band's going to get a little firmer. So I'm going to go through these 2 beads, through the shared bead, we're going to go through the next 2 beads, pull tight. You're going to go through the shared bead, and try to make sure that your ring is staying straight because you don't want it to get twisted. So you're reinforcing all along the right side, and you're going through the shared bead and the 2 beads all the way through, and you can even go through the crystals again on that right hand side. Then you're going to do the same thing on the left hand side. So let me reinforce this and I'll get you started on the left hand side. So continue reinforcing all the way until we get back to the end of the seed beads, and I'll show you how to do the left hand side. Okay, I'm almost done reinforcing the right hand side. We went through all the crystals and the right side of the band. I'm coming out of this shared bead here, pulling that through, and before going to this side, I'm going to reinforce the left side first. So we're going to, right here where it splits, you're going to start to reinforce going through the left 3 beads. Pull that through. We're going to go through the crystals, going through the left crystal and the shared 11-0, like that. Pull that through. Go through the next left crystal and the 11-0 on the outside on the left. Pull tight. Go through the next 4mm bicone and through the shared 11-0 in the middle. And continue through your crystal 11-0 on the left, going through your crystal and the shared 11-0 in the middle, and through the outer crystal. And now we're going to reinforce the left side of the band. So just like we did on the right, you're going through the 3 beads on the left, now we're going to go through the shared bead in the center, the 2 beads on the left, shared bead in the middle, and so forth. And you're going to continue reinforcing all the way the left side of the band until you get to the end. Now you can reinforce this. I like to do this at least 3 or 4 times. So go ahead and reinforce it to your satisfaction, and when you're done you'll just clip the thread off because it is so well weaved. You don't need to do any knots, but you can do a half hitch knot if you would like to. So I'm going to finish reinforcing this and then we will wrap up our video. Alright, I've reinforced this a couple of times. I'm coming out of the crystal here. I'm just going to go through these last 3 seed beads and I'm going to cut my thread right here. All nice and done. Isn't that beautiful? Very easy to make. You don't need very many materials. And if you don't have the Bicone crystals, you can certainly use 3mm rounds, 4mm rounds. The original design calls for doing these all in the 4mm, but I wanted to give it a tapered look, so I did 3 on the outer edges and 4mm in the center. Very pretty. And to verify the size, here's my ring mandrel, and this ended up being right at about a size 5, and that was with 20 beads to complete the band in the pattern. So if you need it bigger, you would add 3 beads to the row. Instead of 20, you do 23. If you need it bigger, you do 26, and so forth. So it's done in increments of 3. Beautiful ring. I also did this in a silver with the same color bicones. This one is in a gold. Very pretty. So you can use your imagination and try different things. I also did one ring with a different color of bead in the center. Let me get that one real quick so you can look at it. So here are some of the other variations that I did. Besides doing it yellow gold, white gold, I did this one in a green with the different shades of green with the gold band. This one I did with a little green in the center to make it look like a little flower, and then gold for the rest of the pattern. Very simple to do. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video today. As I mentioned, I'll have links in the description box where you can find these materials and the book if you're interested. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I have a website where I sell my own jewelry. You'll see that link in the description box, and these will also be listed for sale if you're interested. Also, if you're not a subscriber, I hope that you do subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're notified when I upload new videos. Also, thank you to all of you that have subscribed and keep sharing my link. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Happy beading, and I'll see you next time.